Hey YouTube, coming at you with my second championship team, runerigus, glalie, and Medi. So I mentioned in the matchup yesterday, the video yesterday, that I went against Medi and I was just like, things kind of interesting, right? You have Ice Punch, which will hit super effective against the dragons and the flyers. You have Dynamic Punch, which will hit great in all other neutral situations. Um, even Oranguru is half normal, half psychic, so you can hit that Dynamic Punch neutral there, and you have a lot of bulk. So I want to test it out. I think by my rec, my elo did not do super well. Actually, I started really well. I think I started 3-0, and then I think I lost like 5 of the next 6 or something like that. So despite the strong start, did not close well. Also used runerigus. Runerigus is a top ranked Pokemon. I honestly don't know if it should be top ranked. I just think there's too many things out there that beat it right now. I think between like the Shadow Claw being resisted on Oranguru and so many things with Brutal Swing and a bunch of ice Pokemon out there and a bunch of Pokemon that have water moves. I just think there's too many things that beat it for it to be super useful. Let's take a look. Uh, you know, Cladle's one where it's a pretty decent lead. You have the Shadow Claws, which are doing super effective. You have Brutal Swing, which is super effective. So I'm going to throw the first Brutal Swing here. Why am I... Just as I'm on the heel, getting a stuffy nose. Okay, so they're going to get to a move. I figured that it maybe... I think Shadow Ball or Ice Beam is a recommended second move on this thing. So I did decide to shield it up. And I get to the Brutal Swing here. So maybe grab a shield back, maybe take it out. Do take it out. Let's see what they come in with. There's the Oranguru. You do have the thing with the Oranguru is, yes, Shadow Claw is resisted, but you do have Brutal Swing. And Brutal Swing is super effective. So there's the first. They do shield. Here comes the second. So I took switch. I grabbed shield. I will chip here. They will have energy coming out, which is fine. Actually, that did quite a lot, and I'll get one more if they try and farm, and they did try and farm. So getting the one more Brutal Swings coming at 10 and 8 are just overall solid. So not only did I take switch, I took this down to the deep red. It is a Gyarados in the back. It was one of those things where like I probably should have instant swapped with a rollout user, but I was just too slow, and then I was like, okay, let's just commit here. Getting to the ice punches, if I could throw 2, maybe I can grab a shield here and then force some energy and then maybe roll out down sort of thing. So they actually let it go, which is pretty crazy considering the other Pokemon is pretty low. But Medi, for those of you, I guess some of you, depending on when you have started playing, don't know what Medi is like. Medi, I'll talk about that maybe in a second here, of the history of it and how strong it was and how it was everywhere. But let's set up the next matchup first. Togekiss. So you have Shadow Claw. They get out, which is interesting. So immediately you should be like a flag in the back being like, this could be a double fire team. Or like a double dragon team. A double fire makes sense because you're trying to draw out a ground and you have a Togekiss lead, right? So I am staying in this matchup for now. They have Brutal Swing on this Pokemon, so the Brutal Swings are spamming at a quick pace. Going to shield it to try and get the second Rock Tomb off. Rock Tomb is super effective. Lowers the attack. I've already lowered their attack once. Let's see if they want to double shield. They do decide to double shield. And then give up switch into C Totodile. So jumping all over the place. Off on my read. I guess they're just using Turtonator as a safe swap. But now I have a shield advantage, and I have a roller user and an ice user, so I should be okay. When did counter get nerfed? How many seasons ago now? I guess it's only been like 3 or 4 seasons now that counter got nerfed. Anyways, Medi is basically the fighting Azumarill, sort of. It's an extremely bulky level 50 Pokemon that had counter. And it was so dominant that it was used on like 80% of the play Pokemon teams, and it was used on like 60% of GBL teams. Every team had one Medi, and you usually had 1 to 2 answers for Medi. Counter got nerfed, so it became irrelevant. But it does have Psycho Cut, and Psycho Cut is a fast charging move. So there are times, like in this matchup, in this limited meta, where you can run Psycho Cut and the moveset. And Ice Punch only takes 10 and 8 to get to, and Dynamic Punch, which did get buff at the time as like a sort of offset here, comes at 10s. So between the bulk and the cover for flyers and the Dynamic Punch, it's still a pretty usable Pokemon. So again, I think where it may be limited in this cup is because Ghost is one of the typings, and there's a decent amount of flyers and stuff. On the lead, runerigus, I did get a Rock Tomb off, and then I did manage to catch the Avalanche on mine. There is a Dust Noir. So Dust Noir obviously going to be a little tough for Medi, so I want to try and get this out of here ASAP if I can. They do shield. I'm out of move. I would not be surprised if I shield. Yeah, I really want to land this Avalanche. I don't know if it takes out, but if it doesn't, it's going to put it within like a few HP anyways. And then I'm going to try an instant snipe here. Can't quite get it. Shadow Punch is super effective, but I feel like I can live this. It's a non-shadow Dust Noir, even though shadows seem to be allowed still. A Rangaroo in the back, as they always are. So here comes the first Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing super effective. With the Claw resisted, 2 will not take out here, but 2 will chip to the Deep Red, which is basically all you need. And now you're going to see what Medi was always amazing at, and that is just taking damage. So here comes Medi. Orangaroo is going to throw its first move, maybe Trailblaze to boost its attack here. I will take that. So they boost their attack. Not going to do a ton there. I'm going to throw the move since they don't seem to be throwing a second move here. But I could have lived a second move if I wanted to as well. Glalie comes in. I know it has Shadow Ball, so I will respect that. Is Avalanche. Avalanche would hurt too. Dynamic Punch comes pretty quick. Here it is. This will one-shot what is left here. Goodbye. And Psycho Cut down the Dust Noir. So a good start, and then I think it all kind of fell apart here. Not surprising. It's going to be a tough one in Gyarados. I think they maybe mistimed that, and I'll get maybe 2 off here, but 10 and 8 is 18, but so is the 18 on the Aqua Tails, and Aqua Tail will be super effective. So I do manage to get one here, so I think they mistimed it, maybe let me get a full Shadow Claw through. So get the second Brutal Swing off, not enough to take out, and I tried to catch there kind of knowing, because I didn't catch, I ended up double shielding here, knowing that I'm going to get the farm down. And come out with some energy, a Rangaroo. Yep. Oh boy. Yeah, it's a limited meta. I'm not even going to lie, Rangaroo's on my next team, and it's working very well, so there's that. So I instant swap instead of aligning after, and the instant swap is met with a Shadow Dust Noir, which means that it will probably just be able to astonish me down, because Astonish is super effective on the Psychic. They do have to commit a shield, but that is... Oh no, I was get to another move. Look at that. So I was on my 3rd Ice Punch. Just that's how much damage you could take, right? Because all those Shadow Astonishes. They do have 2 moves, so I'm basically just sacrificing this and hoping I can get to a move before they get to a... I know they're going to get to a move. I was hoping it was just Shadow Punch, because I was going to lose CMP anyways, I think. But it is a Dynamic Punch, so Dust Noir causing me some problems here. Orangaroo, we'll just have to play this out. I assume I play this out. No, I don't play it out. Yeah, you know, it's a tough one. Shadow Claw's resisted. Confusion is neutral. They also have Brutal Swing, which would be super effective on the Ghost. So you're in a kind of tricky spot if you stay in that matchup. But this isn't an amazing matchup either. The confusions are adding up here on the Shadow Pokemon to get an Avalanche off here. So I may, took it to the one shield in the deep red. Switch timer is now done. I can just come and very aggressively Psycho Cut down with the Medi, taking a couple of these brutal swings. So as you can see there, didn't do a ton. Goodra comes in. Problem with Ice Punch and it being non-stab and it being a Medi, even though this will be super effective, it still does not even do 50%, which is crazy. But I can also just take this damage with relative ease here. And I'm at the second one because 10 and 8 here, which means I pace pretty quickly. They do let it go, so I Psycho Cut down. Am I going to instant swap? Looks like I can try an instant swap. And unfortunately, instant swap straight into a Dugong. And this is why I just think runerigus, although I understand like Shadow Claw, there's some things weak to Shadow Claw, and it has Brutal Swing, which is very valuable. I just think there's too many Ice Pokemon, Water Pokemon, the Orangaroos everywhere, too many things with dark moves. So I just don't, I think it's overranked. I do get to the second Rock Tomb, and this will lower the attack for a second time and be super effective. But they've already thrown one Icy Wind, so that's not going to do a ton. Try to catch the move here. And they held it back enough to farm a bit. Landed Juro Run. Orangaroo comes in to absorb the damage. And I am now low enough that I'm going to get Ice Shard down, and they're going to have a move coming out. Dusknoir. I'm playing this out, and I'm playing it on good timing. So I tried to go to 14, first 15, but they threw right on 12. And because they threw right on 12, I got a full Shadow Claw through, which means I am very, very easily going to get to 2 Brutal Swings here. So I will take it in the one shield, and they kind of know that, and they give up switch into Goodra. I'm going to lower the attack, chip it to 50%, because we know that the Ice Punch needs about 50%. I'm also going to, because I lowered the attack and it's a Medi, go to 100 energy. There's no point of throwing early here. Let them throw all these moves. As long as I have a move coming out for the Dusknoir, that's going to come in after. I should be okay. So here's the Ice Punch. This will take out the Goodra. I assume the Dusknoir is going to come in. Here's the Ice Punch. And I'm pretty close to a third because I kind of knew you need to overfarm here. They may let it go. Nope, they do shield. So I'm going to bank that instant swap here. And they eventually give up switch into Dugong. And then I can come with my Ice Pokemon, knowing that Ice is resisted. And want to come out with some extra energy. But I can't take 2 drill runs. That's the only problem with this matchup is if you use the Shadow, it's 2 drill runs will take you out. But you know what? I chipped enough with those super effective rollouts that I may be able to one-shot with the Shadow Ball from this range. Yep, I can, and then I have Avalanche to take this out. And then I think I got a couple more losses in here coming up. Not surprising, Gyarados, and I think this Gyarados times a bit better than the other one. So bad news is obviously I'm not anywhere near where I want to be heading this late in the season. The good news is 2660 when I finished this team, started a new team, did the resets with that team, and I'm currently sitting at 2793. So I made 133 elo on that team, 414132 with that team so far. I'm going to grind that out today. So even if I do well with it, I'm just going to try and hit legend with the team, and I'll still showcase it probably. Unless anyone has submitted. I haven't actually checked my submissions. I I can do that right now behind the scenes. If you guys want to submit any battles, I haven't also covered the Master League, but I think a lot of people are playing this league. At least the views early on have been pretty okay with this league. Let's see if anyone has submitted some championship. No, there's only 2 submissions in here. One was the early one, and then the second one is BAJ, and that's probably from last week. Yeah, it's a great league from last week that I didn't get to because I was, puking my guts out. I like the team. Team got him to legend. Team is from Stone Collection, who shared it with Inadequates, and I saw it. Okay. So maybe I'll showcase that next week during Catch Cup, this team. But otherwise, I have no submissions. So I'm only doing 1 video a week anyways this week. So I'll probably showcase my team anyways, the one that I'm using. And then even honestly, I just may still run with it and just repeat the next video with new battles sort of thing. Yeah. So Snipe by the Gyarados here, and I think there's one more after. And leading off against the Oranguru again. This one I may just stay in there. Yeah, not surprised I'm not giving up Switch this time. You have Brutal Swing. You're going to get to 2. Okay, that's an option too. Chipping it to 50% and then trying to come and absorb on Medi. Medi just doesn't have the coverage. runerigus does come in, and it is weak to ice. And it doesn't, if it's running the same moveset, Brittle Swing is neutral and Rock Tomb is resisted. So I'm not super worried about the charge moves here. They should be more worried about my charge moves, because here comes the second super effective Ice Punch. And they do end up shielding. They're going to have to throw out, so I'm going to get to another move here. And they CMP, so that's smart. I assume I let go. I do let go. They're going to get to a move here. Now, what do I do here? Oh, they're not going to get to a move. I get to the move first, and with a 12 attack, I am throwing right away. And then Oranguru back in. So I'm not mad at letting the first move go because they had so much energy and they're likely to boost. The only concern is if they do boost, I'm now very low. I burned the 1 shield. But now the damage may be done, and it is Gyarados. And I have the Avalanche. Question is, can I get to the Rock Tomb? And if I remember, the answer is no. No, I have no energy. So can I get to a Brutal Swing? Yes. And I was hoping we did not. I was hoping we CMP'd on this one. But as you're going to see, we did not CMP. He threw it right before, and now they get to a Super Effect Octo. Yeah, so sorry, runerigus. Just too many things you're weak to in this meta. So yeah. So we'll showcase that next team Friday. I looked ahead. There is an event on Monday that I'll probably cover. Otherwise, I'll just do 1 video a day on the weekend. We're going to get news. 3 times out of 4, the news is dropped. I mean, at least for the last probably 2 years now. 3 out of 4 times the season turns over. So the season turns over every 3 months. So we get 4 season turnovers a year. For the last 2 years, if I remember correctly, 3 out of those 4 were done with your normal in-game, not in-game, but like normal announcements on the website. Like the Pokemon Go website, you'll just have the announcements drop for the next season for the GBL and for the larger season. And if that happens, it is likely going to be on a Tuesday, somewhere between Tuesday and Thursday, realistically. Maybe even Monday to Thursday next week. If they just drop it on their website, that's where it will happen. But 1 time out of 4, and both times it's usually been at the big August one which is why it happened last time. Last time, they announced it during a big Play Pokemon Championship. Now this weekend is LAIC, right? You can see the logo, the Pokemon Go Championship is the Play Pokemon LAIC Championship, which is the big one for Latin America. I mean, it is a big one because there's only so many of these, like, I forget what the I stands for, the not international, but it's the biggest one for each region. So they could theoretically announce on like Saturday or Sunday. I'd be surprised if they did. I feel like that is just usually saved for the big like Play Pokemon Championship in August. So my guess is that it'll come somewhere between Monday to Thursday, and then when it does, we'll pump out a bunch of videos. Go on record right now. My office days next week are Wednesday, Friday. Not worried about Friday because they're not going to drop. Maybe they'll drop it Friday morning. They could theoretically, but if they do, so be it. I'll just cover it Saturday. Are we going to bet on Wednesday? Because statistically, it's usually been I go to the office 2 days a week. I usually do a Friday, and I usually do Tuesday. I'm going in Wednesday this week though, and they almost always do it when I'm in the office and can't cover it. Do a quick cover. So maybe we're gonna get the news on Wednesday. We'll see. Anyways, that is it. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.